Nitro, tell you what, we just get to sit up here in the box and call some awesome racing, which is what we've done all day.
Mate, go and hang out with the crew. I like it, and with the hands dirty down to see how it's all happening in the Top Fuel pits. There's so much going on. We just saw the finals there of the Junior Dragsters where, well, one of the Lamatinas has taken home a win. Ross Lamatina got the win there over Claire Little, just in the Junior Dragsters, by 36 thousandths of a second.
You've got to wonder if Ross is going to go back and go, hey, Dad, do you want to touch my trophy? Do you want to hold it? Do you want to get a photo with it? I don't know. I reckon he probably will.
I reckon Dad's fun in the race, and I reckon you've got to be a pretty brave child if you're going to do that.
Oh, well, we have got bikereview.com.au modified bike coming up next, and it's going to be a good one. We've got Chris Hocking taking on Dale Williams. Christopher Hocking dialing it with a 9:45, 9:68 up on the boards for Dale Williams. So not quite a heads-up race, about 2 lights give or take difference on the Christmas tree. And should be a killer race, this one. Williams riding on the Yamaha, Christopher Hocking on the Hayabusa.
We're right into our finals now here at the Burson's Auto Part Australian Top Fuel Championship. Of course, juniors have just run now. We are moving on to modified bike. Fantastic crowd. We're glad you've hung around here at Sydney Dragway. We're not far away from seeing the final runs from Top Fuel. We've still got plenty more to come, including the fireworks and burnouts to finish off the night. But it's a modified bike on track right now, and it looks like Christopher Hocking is in the pre-stage, ready to go, already crouched over. He's got that throttle arm turned right up, wait for the elbow to come down. It's going to be full throttle. Just waiting now, Dale Williams needs to bump in. There he goes. He's going to be first to leave, gets away. It's a 0.86 to a 0.18. Hocking with a big advantage there in the reaction time. As they head down the track, who's going to get the win here? We're not sure. Dale Williams, no double breakout, but the win will go to Christopher Hocking there. The least of the breakout, 9.36 on a 9.45 dial-in to a 9.52 and a 9.68 dial-in.
That's a huge breakout. Chris Hocking goes almost a tenth of a second under, still wins the race. Dale Williams is a tenth and a half under. I think conditions have really come around here this afternoon. A lot cooler. I think these things are making a lot more horsepower. We might see quite a few double breakouts in the dial your own classes here as we go on.
I'm sure that everyone out there in the crowd will contest to that, where we've seen the temperatures have really dropped down here at Sydney Dragway now. We're under lights. This is where racing gets really exciting. Darren Foley coming out in the Rams Head Services. This looks like it's just going to be a bye run there for the Extreme Bike Finals.
No, I think extreme bike running on the all-run format here today. So here's got a solo pass this time out. So this is the final round of racing, I should say, for Extreme Bike. Darren Foley on this Suzuki Hayabusa, who's had a good day, running some huge speeds. Oh, he's riding this thing over near the centre line. It's not where you want to be on one of these motorcycles. He was really leaning it over, trying to get it back into the centre of the lane. And at some point, you just have to realise you're beaten. And I think he knew that when he was lining up one of the centre lane blocks down there.
Here you go, Extreme Bike, you're right. The all-run format, Darren Foley, unfortunately, didn't get all the points here today. Only 20 points to take into the finals there, so going to get the bye run. Next up, though, Jeff Graddon. It looks like Deanna as a party will be out on track next. Just as they prepare, they're just waiting for Foley to go off. There's a moment there where he went right towards the centre line. You can tell he gets off the rubber onto that fresh concrete. See a little bit of dust kick up there.
Yeah, 100%. It's not where too many cars or bikes have been all day long. That's why it's a little bit dusty out there. It is the outer boundary of the lane, and you cross that, you're going to be in trouble. That's for sure. You definitely get a talking to. Jeff Graddon lining up in the Rocket Industries lane, the Sigra Rolling Stock Components bike. We usually see him in a top door slammer, the Chrysler Saratoga, that runs deep into the 5-second zone at up over 250 miles an hour. This time around, though, he's on the Hayabusa, so this is what he does for fun. Go figure. Deanne has a party on the other side on the Suzuki GSXR 1000. Solid performer all day long, but I think the horsepower of Graddon's bike is just going to be a little bit too much at the top end, and it is an 845 and 169 miles per hour. Takes the win here, and I believe the final, so this is the event final coming up now. That was the B final, this is the A final. Jeff Graddon, Leonard as a party on the blue motorcycle down here will be taking on Alex Borg. Both of these bikes have run in the 6-second zone in the past. They both have run well and truly over 210 miles per hour. This is going to be an absolute cracker of a race. I'll tell you right now, conditions looking very, very good out there right now.
We could not have scripted Extreme Bike Finals better. They're on the same team. Of course, Leonard works on both the bikes. Alex Borg and Leonard has a party, the only extreme bikes in Australia to go side-by-side sixes. They've been well over 210 miles an hour there. If we put that into perspective, of course, that means they've been right up there when it comes to the speed.
These guys both very good friends as well. As a party, racing, doing the engine work and the development on the bike for Alex Borg, and obviously Leonard as a party, wealth of experience when it comes to these motorcycles.
Both got 2 wins in the all-run format. Here we go. The Flames are going to come out as they go on the 2-step in full stage. Watch this. Traction there for Azzopardi. Looks like Alex Borg as well. They're off side by side as they go past the half track. This one's going to be close. 690 to 695. And Leonard Azzopardi gets to win 211. So it's 211, or as we see up there, that's going to be a 690 at 341 kilometres an hour. How close are you? can see them down the end. They really love racing each other.
They're having a good old chat to each other down there as they go around the turnout. 695 to a 690, over 210 miles an hour apiece. That is an insane race side by side. Leonard Azzopardi was fighting that thing off the centre line the whole way down the racetrack. Makes a noise, Sydney Dragway. If that doesn't get your blood going, I don't know what does. Let's have a look at the replay, Matty Cav.
To see him dragging his foot there for Alex Borg, trying to keep the bike. Comes up on the back wheel. Look at that. That's after the 330 foot. He's a quarter way down the track and it lifts the front wheel.
Not uncommon with that thing. Great race, side by side all the way through. And have a look at this. Right down the other end of the racetrack, you'll see Leonard Azzopardi looks over his shoulder to see exactly where Alex Borg is. And he thinks, you know what? If he's alongside me and I had that good a run, that must have been an absolute killer side-by-side race. And you can see the body language. They're pretty pumped down there.
I think that maybe they're just trying to figure out who won that race. I think Alex Borg may have known he's just missed out on it there, giving him the signal. But I'm sure you're not looking beside you at that point. You're doing over 300 kilometres an hour. You're not turning your head.
It is time now for Go Logistics Super Street, and what a matchup we've got here. The Plymouth Satellite of Tex Griffiths taking on the Go Logistics XT Falcon of Peter Villaris. This is going to be a good one. Pete has been absolutely driving the wheels off this thing all day long. I saw a photo on Facebook a little bit earlier on today with this car pretty much riding the back bumper. It was up, and away. And for a big, heavy car, that means this thing's got plenty of horsepower under the bonnet. He's dialing in with a 1037. That is the self-nominated handicap. For Tex Griffiths, 1047 is up on the board, so only a tenth of a second. You're not going to be able to see too much of a difference in the handicap on the Christmas tree. This is going to be a good side-by-side race.
We know we love when we get the wheel standers there, and it's a award I want to bring here to the championship because when the wheels go up, we love it. It gets the crowd pumped up. We know the drivers, it's a big risk in the car, but we love it when they stand on it. And it's about the hang time and the haulage too. How far can they keep those wheels in the air?
Well, it's the 3 H's of wheel standing. The hang, the height and the haul. That's what it comes back to. And Peter Villaris, he's definitely had all 3 in spades this week, and such a tough looking car, this one. And he would love to take this home. Has never won a Super Street event. This would be his first event win if he could do it. Tex, on the other hand, he's won plenty. He's a perennial championship contender both here in the New South Wales Championship Series and also on a national level as well. So very experienced racer. But geez, it'd be nice. So Peter Villaris, the category sponsor, one of the owners of Go Logistics, he'd love to take home this trophy. 1/10 is going to be the handicap though for Tex Griffiths. Oh, the wheels come up there for Villaris just a little bit. He's a bit tamer this time. No, but he's got a big advantage on the start line. 0.77 to a 1.54 reaction time advantage. Villaris is out in front, and it's a double breakout at 10.31 on a 10.37. Loses the race to a 10.44 and a 10.47. Double breakout there, and Peter Villaris was just that little bit too far in front. A dab of the brakes probably would have been a good idea that time around.
Yeah, very hard when the conditions are changing in the car. You don't have to do anything to it, but all of a sudden it starts picking up just a little bit of horsepower.
A little bit. Speaking of little, that's Mick Little down there in the Rocket Industries lane. The LJ Tirana. This is the final of Super Sedan now. Nathan Watt lining up in the Aeroflow lane. To the driver's left, closest to screen if you are watching online via 7+ or on the Top Fuel Australia page.
So Michael Little taking on Nathan Watt, and we're only talking 0.08 of a second with the difference in the dial in a 9.43 for Watt to a 9.35 for Little. So Little will have to wait 0.08 of a second. That's nothing in the light. He's going to have to preempt that. He's going to have to maintain the focus on his amber lights as they go down. Just waiting. Got to just nudge it in, just that shallow stage. Here we go. Slightly as the wheels come up a little bit. Watt goes away, they're side by side, already a quarter way down the track. And let's have a look at this one as they head down the far end. The lights are on for Little. Can he get there as close? Little back in. Michael Little takes it there in the LJ Tirana. Look at that, 9.41 at 255 kilometres an hour to a 9.59 at 229 kilometres an hour for Nathan Watt.
It was a last-minute decision to come and race here this weekend for Mick Little and the team. And I'll tell you what, they've made it count, haven't they? Nathan Watt had a huge reaction time advantage, almost a tenth of a second up his sleeve, but Mick Little drove around him, he put the pressure on and did exactly what he needed to do. Congratulations to that team, the M&T Little Plumbing sponsored team from Forbes. Always love our races out from the Central West.
And they love doing the travel to come here. They do it so many times, especially when you see like Claire obviously coming over the juniors, Nice, and unfortunately they'll runners up tonight there to the Lamatinas. So, you know, good to see the family on both sides getting down here and racing at Sydney Dragway.
100%. Next up it is Supergas time. Fixed index 990. That is the aim of the game. And this is always fun. Both of these cars can run way quicker than 990, but that's the challenge, is making them run 990. You'll see these cars will leave the start line, the throttle stop will kick in for a predetermined period of time, and then the engine will pick back up. And the whole aim is to run as close to 990 as you can without going under. If you go under, you're out. If you both go under, whoever goes under by the least will be the one that takes home the trophy. And the trophy is on the line for the win here at round 1 of the Burson Auto Parts Australian Top Fuel Championship in the Supergas class. Joe Catan's already left of closest to screen, I should say, in the Pontiac Firebird. He'll be taking on Tony Polito in the MPS-sponsored Ford Probe in the Rocket Industries lane.
Very short, sharp burnouts there. Want to get on with business here. Already coming in full stage there for Tanzariti. Just waiting for Polito to nudge in. They want a shallow stage. Just get those second bulb on. Here we go. They come up. Throttle stop goes on. You see him nose over. It's going to be a big one here from Catanzariti. Let's see how he goes down the far end. It's close. They go through 1,000. The wheel will go to Jacob Catanzariti by 200ths of a second.
990 with a 2 on a 990 fixed index. Tony Polito was close. That was a really close race, only 20 thousandths of a second at the finish line. Super, super close. We even had the fireworks go off. They got so excited.
Mate, we love to see it. It's fantastic to have everybody here enjoying drag racing at Sydney Dragway for 22. What a way to get started. Remembering in 3 weeks we're going to come back. The Nationals are here, the 52nd running.
100% time now for Timmy Cotrod Supplies, a modified eliminator. And tell you what, we got a good one here. It is Adriana McCaskill lining up the Pro Street Towing Dragster. And Craig Baker. So 2 races out of Victoria. Adriana, though, let's be honest, is no stranger to Sydney Dragway. She is a multi-time New South Wales champion in the junior dragster category. She stepped up very recently with the purchase of this car. I'll tell you what, she's doing a good job. Started at a number 2 qualifying spot and has made it all the way through to the final, up against one of the more experienced campaigners in the modified eliminator category, and that is Craig Baker. Dialing in with an 8.55 is the racer from Gallenbray in Victoria, Adriana McCaskill, dialing in with a 7.21. So she's going to have to be patient here. She's going to have to be very, very patient on the start line.
Probably one of the hardest things when we come to these, this difference in dial-in is you know the other car's gone and you've got to chase it down. So you really need to cut that perfect light. It's all about reaction time when it comes to modified racing. They know these cars. They've done so many runs in them. The data that they have accumulated, they'll expect it with the weather conditions, the slight changes. But you've got to cut that light. Let's see how they go. Pre-stage now for Baker. McCaskill comes in a pre-stage. There we go. Baker in full stage. You see the double bulbs come on. Ramps come up. Baker gets away nicely. 0.98. What can McCaskill do? Has to wait. Oh, no. Goes nowhere. Stuck on the start line. Baker's going to take this win, looks like. Gets down there, doesn't cross the line. Oh, 8.55 at 8.55, 250 kilometres an hour.
It was a lot closer than it probably had to be. All he needed to do was just roll off the throttle. But an 8.55 on an 8.55, that's a tough one to beat. Unfortunately for Adriana McCaskill, the car just didn't move off the start line. It's unfortunate. Not quite sure what the problem was.
Well, the noise went out. Now they seem to fire it out. I think they're going to let her drive down. It's probably going to be the quickest way to get the dragster off, obviously, the big turnaround area. And then you're going to launch it. Maybe they've got the data logger on. They can still get some information inside the car.
Hey, if you can't win, you may as well have some fun. Lick the stamp and send it. That's the way to do it. Adriana McCaskill goes through to 7.25, but I'm sure it will be of little consolation to her. She would have loved to take home that trophy in her first event back here at Sydney Dragway in that brand new car.
Running through our finals here at the Burson's Auto Pass Top Fuel Australia Championship, and it's great to see all of our other categories getting opportunity to race here this weekend. Great finals. We see them come out on track now. Our top sportsmen now Thomas Leake is here in the Aeroflow lane on the left-hand side from Googong in New South Wales, just outside of the ACT, of course, in the Pontiac Grand Am, all thanks to PSI Plumbing and Gas Fitting. Yes, the son of Bruce Leake, who's racing in Pro Stock, and look at that, the familiar sound of that 540 that's been in several cars that he's owned.
And how good do these two cars look under lights here at Sydney Dragway? Paul Pardo Partridge lining up in the Mustang down there, the Fox body car, running the 604 cubic inch Ford power plant in that car.
So we've got this Chev versus Ford. They're both big blocks. They've got some cubes on board.
Yep.
The metallic style paint on them.
They look spectacular.
They do look spectacular. And look at this. Partridge with a 790 dial in to Link with a 789.
So it's virtually a heads-up race. You've got the number 1 and 2 qualifiers. There is nothing between these two. Two very different ways of going about your racing. You've got the GM product versus the Ford. But, you know, it all works out in the end, doesn't it? Number 1 and 2 qualifiers facing off here. Paul Partridge on the right of screen as you're looking at it now. Left of screen, Thomas Leake, that beautiful purple Pontiac Grand Am. Reaction time is going to be key here. Big reaction time advantage to Pardo. 015 on the tree, 047 for Thomas Leake. Can he drive around the outside? It's going to be hard. No, he can't. 797 on the 790, gets the win, and he shut it off early too, 158 miles per hour. He knew he was out in front. 795 on the 789. Unfortunately for Thomas Leake, he's had a great day, but he's going to have to settle for the runner-up position this time around. Supercomp time. And that is David Roberts in the Spitzer hardtail dragster, running the very small cube twin turbocharged power plant. Double E dragster automatic class designation. Tony O'Connor, a modified production automatic is the class that he is running in. An index of an 842 for Tony O'Connor, 660 for David Roberts. So to put it into perspective, Dave Roberts is going to be sitting on the start line for over for around 2 seconds, watching his opponent go down the racetrack, and he's just going to have to be as patient as he possibly can.
It is going to be very hard when you're sitting there as a racer. It's not natural there to see your opponent leave you, and you've got to try and catch him. Tony O'Connor in the XF Falcon fires up all thanks to Token Performance. So, of course, our all-run format here when it comes to Supercomp as well. So, unfortunately, they didn't get too many wins today. They're coming in this one both on 20 points after the all-run format. Didn't get a win in the first 2 rounds of racing, but here they are. The third chance they get to go out. Maybe one of them will just get a few extra points here and push them up into that 5th position. We'll have to wait and find out who that's going to be. Of course, 6 cars here in the final. Supercomp out on track at the moment. Let's see how big the burnout's going to be from Tony O'Connor.
Supercomp running the all-run format as well here this weekend, so it is the last round of racing for these guys. It's not the final. This one isn't for the trophy, but it is for, I guess, bragging rights is probably the best way to say it.
And look, if you get another chance to race, it's all great elimination racing. It's how it works. But if you can go then do every round, how fantastic is that for the racers? You get to have a great opportunity. We put it out there for the crowd. Twin turbo small block, of course. You've seen the turbos hanging out for Dave Roberts. Tony O'Connor, the more traditional style, keeping with the street style look car, the XF Falcon, of course, 396 on board, taking on that turbocharged small. And that's what you see with the difference with Supercomp is with the power adders. And we see that 660 index for Roberts there with the twin turbo small block, taking on more traditional naturally aspirated combo, the 842 index there of the XF Falcon. Let's see how it goes. He's going to leave the line first, and it's almost 2 seconds in front. There's going to be a big difference in the lights. He's just going to be waiting, but the boost is going to come on, and it's down the far end of the track where you're really going to see him catch up to Tony O'Connor. This one could be really close at the end. We'll have to wait and find out. Roll through. Free stage on now. Time to bump him in here in Supercomp. The all-run format here this weekend. 5 and 6 racing it out. Yeah, Tony O'Connor gets away nicely there. The Flames got the 2-step. Oh, he's away. A 182 reaction for O'Connor to a 135 for Roberts. Bit of smoke as he goes down, and it looks like a break out there for O'Connor, but gets the win. Goes 837 with a 262 kilometres an hour, 313 kilometres an hour there for Dave Roberts on that, a 711, a 7.11 with a 9 there. So obviously with the indexes there, Tony O'Connor across the line first, and the XF getting the bragging rights out of that one. So that was our 5th and 6th taking the third set of pairings there for Super Comp. We've still got 3 and 4 to face off, and then we've got 1 and 2 to go into our finals for Super Comp to see who's going to win. You see out in front there, it was always going to be O'Connor. Gets a nice run, and Roberts just couldn't catch him up in the front. As we check out the replay there, the Flames are up in the 2-step. Oh, he gets sideways. I reckon he's got off the accelerator there, and that's where we see that dump of oil come out of the turbos.
Yeah, absolutely. O'Connor still getting the win there, and we do have the red lights flashing down there, so we may be down for a little bit of a clean-up situation down there in the Aeroflow lane. We can see the track walkers out there just having a good look at exactly what it was. That car has been doing the smoking game throughout the day, that car at Brett Roberts. I'm not quite sure what the situation is there, but obviously whatever it is, it's a recurring problem. And how's the commitment from our officials on their hands and knees at the finish line, feeling for the oil, feeling for any kind of moisture down there at the finish line, just making sure that the track is absolutely in A1 racing shape?
Well, remember, they were down here preparing the track before 10 o'clock this morning, a couple of hours beforehand.
Oh, well and truly.
We've been
Try 6 o'clock this morning.
We've been racing since 10, so it's been a long day now. We're pushing court to 9 at night, so it's been almost 12 hours of racing for our crew. They've been here for longer than that. Yesterday, trying conditions, they drive the track out like 4 times yesterday, and that is a lot of work. So our officials are very dedicated here at Sydney Drag. We're doing an absolutely fantastic job.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, they have done a sensational job in extremely trying circumstances all weekend long. And it's not just on race day, it's also in the lead up to the event. They come out here, they help us get the venue ready, they help us basically prepare for what is a massive, massive party here with round 1 of the Burson Australian Top Fuel Championship. And, well, we're not too far away, obviously, from Top Fuel. Obviously, we're rolling through our finals here in the final round for the all-run format for a lot of our categories. But you look out there, you can see plenty of Top Fuel crew shirts. And I can see the Premier High guys over in the Rocket Industries lane, the Hydrolink team over in the Aeroflow lane. And I would dare say that there is a big discussion going on about lane choice right now with the Hydrolink team, trying to work out exactly where they're going to land.
They want to start this season off very, very quickly. They want to start this season off with a win.
And I have just heard that Bruce Reid has selected the left lane, the Aeroflow lane, with that lane choice selection. So he's been running well in it all day. They've got the data on it. Why wouldn't you go that way? He
did allude to it when Chad was down there earlier having a chat with him. He alluded to the left-hand lane, didn't he? I think it's been lucky for him today. Obviously, they got the lowest ET in round 2 of racing, which has put him into the final there with that 388, and they had some good mile an hour. So they'll be looking to try and back that one up. Can they get a win? Can they kick the season off here? The first ever Burson's Auto Parts Australian Top Fuel Championship here at Sydney Dragway. Who is going to take home that trophy here tonight? That is the interesting part. It's always good to start your season on a win. It is takes a lot of confidence into the next race, because we're back here in 3 weeks. Absolutely. We're going to do it all again.
Absolutely, that's right. And if you haven't got your tickets already, jump online and get it. Tickets open this weekend for spectator tickets for the 52nd running of the Australian Nationals. Now, in terms of the matchups for the final round of the Burson Burson Auto Parts Australian Top Fuel Championship, I should say. The first pair that we will see out will be Wayne Newby taking on Shane Olive. 2 very, very good friends, I might add. 2 very good close mates, and I'm sure there will be bragging rights on offer there. The B final will be Phil Lamartina taking on Larry Dixon, and the one for the trophy and all the chocolates will be Phil Reid taking on Peter Shiveris. That's going to be a killer race.
Mate, it's going to be fantastic. Shiveris coming off that championship last year. Just the consistency in that team. They've only had 1 run not go to plan this weekend. Phil Reid, obviously the team coming together since the Hydrolink back. They haven't had too many races. Great sponsor come on board. The joinhydrolink.com. Everyone got on there today, had a fantastic
copy.
I'm a franchisee, your own boss. You can do that.
Yes, mate.
Start line experience is a way. It was a fantastic way to involve the crowd for a money can't buy. Move on now, as it looks like we're going to keep going on with our Super Comp at the moment. It's going to be Hugo Digiavici. Here.
I'm on 2, mate.
Coming out, sorry, I've got that one motor up there. It's been a long day here in the competition box with the Race Rides Australia Pontiac GXP. Of course, 500 cubes, like you say. More the American-style Pro Stock setup in this car, but with an automatic transmission, not running the manuals like they do in the Pro Stock. Nice, easy way there. Got the beautiful body lines on it. It's very slick as it goes through the air. 7.12 seconds. So 7.12 is going to be the index for him. Doesn't look like we're going to have Daniel Camilleri come up alongside. That is very unfortunate there. We love seeing Dan get out. Normally running those 7.0s would have been a good stoush to the final there, I reckon, for him. But unfortunately, we have not seen the car come out here in Super Comp. Our finalists are lined up ready to go next. But this is basically was going to be the showdown between 3 and 4.
Absolutely, and Hugo went 7.20, I think it was, earlier on today, so he's running pretty much bang around that index where he needs to be, only a couple of hundredths off now. We are just getting some information from the pit area that there is an absolute thrash going on in the pit area for Shane Olive, trying to get that car back out for the C final. It's not looking likely at this stage, but we can all keep our fingers crossed. We know that they had some problems, a valve train issue, before they went to warm up the car. They missed something when they were putting it back together, and unfortunately it looks like that may impact their ability to come out for this final round. Let's hope I'm wrong.
Well, let's hope. They've got a crew that have been together for quite some time. We know a couple of the guys there in the crew have obviously come over from the funny car ranks with them, which similar sort of maintenance on the car. So hopefully they can get that done. What they did say was, we're not banging our heads on the body, though. That's the great thing about working on the Top Fuel car.
You got to watch that rear wing, though. I know plenty of people who've split their heads open on them. So Hugo De Giovincenzo now in the Rocket Industries lane. The Pontiac GXP racing for Race Glides Australia. Has been racing for a very, very long time. Was an icon in Melbourne drag racing back in the early 90s. Had a string of bright pink and purple race cars. And let's be honest, this one looks absolutely fantastic as well under the lights here at Sydney Dragway. Straight into full stage. What's the number that we can see on the boards? 105 to the 60. Pretty good on the short time. I think we might actually see a pretty good number come up here. 719, 191 miles per hour. So just a little bit left on the table in terms of the comparison to the class index. But Hugo De Giovincenzo, I'm sure he's looking at this weekend more as a test session for 3 weeks' time when we come back for the Nationals.
Yeah, we're going to turn around again, and of course the trip there from Victoria, not too bad to be taken down the Hume Highway there. Check out the replay there. Car just moves around a little at the far, like you say, the air on these cars, not as much downforce, trying to stay slick through the air. Shoots come out, gets a little bit sideways there at that point as he's coming back towards the centre, but not a bad run there, very close to his index. So that's going to be good as he brings that in 3 weeks' time. We come back here and do the Nationals for the 52nd running.
Now, Matty, I know you love giving out trophies. I know you love giving out trophies.
I know you love to let me give out trophies.
And we are going to be giving out some trophies after this race at the presentations after the event, because Adrian Vella and Craig Geddes are going to be doing battle. Adrian Vella lining up in the Chevy Cobalt down there in the Aeroflow lane. 892 the index up towards him. Craig Geddes 888. Now remember, these aren't dialings, these are indexes. You can run under the class index, and ideally you will be running under the class index if you're in the final and you want to get the win.
The easiest way to say that is that really is just that you are setting your dial in. It's not a dial in to break it, but it's giving you your handicap.
It's exactly right. The class index indicates the handicap. The idea is, though, you're still first across the line. If you're first across the line, you get to take home the big trophy. That's what it's about.
So in this one here, you're going to see it's only going to be 400ths of a second will be the handicap, and Adrian Vella's going to get that advantage. We'll have to see what the little small block Chev can do in the Cobalt. I mean, 325 cubes, you know it's going to get some big RPM out of it on that one, taking on the Chevy Cavalier alongside. What can we do? Just wait and get the final words there. Mike has obviously put the shocks in this one for Vella.
Virtually a heads-up race, this one. Only 400ths of a second difference in it. Not even a light on the Christmas tree, so it's virtually a heads-up race. You'll see the tree come down basically together. And the great thing I love about these cars is watch the wheels come up and carry them. There we go, that's what it's all about. 070-88 on the reaction time. Advantage Geddes, but Vella's out in front and he will get the win this time around. And 8.45 on the 8.92, half a second under the index, almost 4/10 of a second under the national record. Watch him at the Nationals in 3 weeks' time when you can reset records. That is going to be one to watch.
Yeah, nice run there. We look at Geddes there. They got up on the wheelie bars, really stood up. Finally got the front wheels down. You can see on the replay. Then it was side by side, but Vella, he's just running under that index. He's got a fair bit up at the moment in his pace. You see how far in front he is as he crosses the line. Check this out from front on, though. How much air do we get on the front wheels? Oh, it's right up.
Absolutely. That's what it's about. The height, the hang, and the haul. All right. Supercharged Outlaws time now. We hear the familiar whine of the Superchargers as these cars fire up to end a day in the Rocket Industries lane, taking on Toby Austin. So neither of these two races have had a particularly memorable day, I would suggest. That may change with a good run here in this final pass for the evening for these guys and girls. To end a day at Dolingham at a 650, as is Toby Austin. So again, another great door handle to door handle race, metaphorically speaking.
Oh, look, I can't say I don't. I love it when we see heads-up racing here. Both dialing in 650s. It's not going to be a fantastic showdown. Burnout getting done by Toby Austin right now. The funny car gets down there. The Pit Crew Auto Parts Camaro. Also thanks to Battery Kingdom in Heatherbray. Car comes to a stop. They'll start backing that up. He's found reverse. That's a good start.
Absolutely. Toby Austin's still relatively new to the Supercharged Outlaws category in the Supercharged Outlaws class. Now, I'm not sure what's going on here for doing today, but unfortunately, it looks like she's not able to pull that car forward out of the fire-up box. So maybe some kind of issue with the gear selector in the rear of that car. I'm not quite sure.
They're looking for things there. The crew are leaning in, though. You can see that. Trying to find and select the gear. There might be an issue there. They might just shut it down to try and get somewhere. That's going to be the problem. No, it looks like we get the signal. It's going to be a solo run. That's a shame here in the final. Supercharged Outlaw Toby Austin going to get himself, well, you don't want to say an easy win. He's had to do a lot of work to get to this point.
Absolutely, absolutely. He hasn't just lucked his way into it, that is for sure. Doing a day, she's getting all the bad luck out of the way this weekend so that in 3 weekends' time, she'll be A-OK. I think that's the plan that she's running with here. So Toby Austin, lining up here in this very stealthy-looking Chevy Camaro money car.
All right, it is a solo run, but don't say it doesn't get exciting. No. Sometimes, is he going to go for it?
Anytime you put a supercharger on something.
Throw it down, what can he do? A bit of clutch dust comes out as he goes down the track. 1-1-0 to the 60 foot.
Smoke down there. Looks like it's okay though. 676, 149 miles per hour, and unfortunately for Duena Day, she's being pushed back in that Drysdale's Chaff Mill Swarf King Dragster. Again, that's a shame because they're a great team, and it's been a long time since we've seen them here at Sydney Dragway. But the great news is, hopefully, we'll see them back for the Nationals in only a couple of weeks' time.
Doesn't get on the wheelie bar too much that time. You can see from behind as he heads down the track there for Toby Austin. We'll check another replay here. It's from front on as he comes down.
Not quite sure what happened. He got to just past the 1,000-foot mark, and there was a big puff of smoke. It may have even just been the parachutes coming out, but either way, it got down there, and 676 is the result, speed way down, and we are moving into Pro Stock very, very soon once we clear off these very inconveniently long dragsters. They're not the easiest things to move around on the start line, are they?
They're hard to turn around when they stop on the start line, and I reckon that's a light down the far end as well. So do we have a stopped car down there somewhere? I can see the red stoplight way down the track. You see Rick Chilton getting ready to go. Got the big Canberra Machining Company on the front. We know he resides in Canberra there, and got this Dodge now, which was, it's been a championship Dodge as well. He's been leading that one. Wayne Daly used to own that car and got all the latest and greatest inside of it. So Rick Chilton, unfortunately for this round there, he hasn't got up there to go through to the finals. This is going to be a bit further down now, all-run format for Rick Chilton there. Just having a look here, you can see this one didn't get a win here today. So unfortunately been runner-up in 2 races. So he'll be fighting out for the minor positions, the B final basically.
But it is what it is. Sometimes you have good days at the racetrack, sometimes you have not so good days. But either way, it's all about testing, all about getting data on the racetrack, and that's what it's about for these guys. Because this is still a relatively new combination for them. They ran the last car that they had, the Pontiac Grand Am, for a long, long time, and they had plenty of data. They had plenty of resources to go back and look at previous runs and that kind of thing, and they did fantastic things in it. But they've stepped into this car, and it's really just going to be a matter of getting all of those data points back on this one. Once they do, they're certainly going to be front runners. We saw a 7:08 out of him early on today, and I would suggest that it may be able to go a little bit quicker with the conditions that we've got here this evening.
Yeah, good to see Crystal Dardis lined up alongside. Unfortunately, won't be going through for the number 1 position. Like I say, this will be the B final. We'll see who's going to end up 3rd here after racing today. But Crystal Dardis, a big thanks to everyone involved in his car on the back there. And there's been Ridgeway Motorsports today, really, although he's not coming through to the final, Ridgeway Motorsports engines have been between him and Rob Deckett, who is going into the A final, I suppose, for the number 1 contendership. But they've been running the 690s, both those cars with similar engine combinations.
100%. Consistency, though. Clint George, he has absolutely killed it with consistency today. He made his way into the A final. He's the man who will be taking on Robert Deckett in the final. The B final, as he touched on, will be up next between Chris Soldatis and Rick Chilton. And should be good matchups a pair. Not too far away from getting into the third and final round for the Burson Auto Parts Australian Top Fuel Championship here this evening. It's been a killer day, and it's fantastic to see that this huge crowd has hung around here on a beautiful summer night here in Sydney.
It is still a killer day. We've still got entertainment coming your way. We've got Pro Stock coming out. We've got Pro Mod. And remember, with the Pro Mods, they've actually run their finals. So that means that they are going to go all out. Then we got Top Bike and Top Fuel. And the big question is, will Olive make it? Will he? We'll have to find out.
Absolutely. And then we've got even more. We've got 10 of the best burnout cars in the land coming out onto the pad, presented by Summernats, and that's going to be absolutely killer. Fantastic way to put an exclamation point on the night. But then there's more.
We've got a light show. The fireworks are on as well. We start with some sparks in the burnouts once we get down to rims, and then we let it off as a fireworks. It's going to be a fantastic night. We hope you're enjoying Sydney Dragway and the Burson's Auto Parts Top Fuel Championship. The action is coming your way. The B final right now. Rick Chilton taking on Chris Soldatis as they go forward. The Pro Stock final. 400 cubes of naturally aspirated, high-revving V8 goodness. Let the sound pulsate through your ears. This one's going to be good.
Nothing like a high-revving small block to get the blood flowing, that's for sure.
It's a very different sound. Listen to Soldatis. The RPM in that burnout.
Yeah, absolutely bashing the limiter in that.
Did he hear we're getting burnout cars out later and he wanted to get in on it?
I think he must have overheard us talking. Absolutely slamming the limiter on that thing, which is not ideal in these cars, because once you start doing that, you start getting valve float and you start doing all sorts of weird things inside these engines. They are very highly strung, these Pro Stock engines, and the last thing you want to do is kill it in the burnout when you still need all that horsepower during the run.
Now, Soldatis has a very, I suppose, methodical way he goes through his startup routine. You see him do the burnout. It's been at a pace. Now, if you're the driver alongside like Rick Chilton, you're going to understand Chris. He's just going to go through the motions. He's got it set. It's what he does. It's why he's been successful in the past. Let's see how it happens this time. The crew doing seeing him doing the wheeling. See out the front there, obviously his crew was just holding him up. Got the hand signal up there. The final words there from the crew chief. All of them have headsets. They've got a crew chief with a headset that can talk with an earpiece. So they're talking to the driver, letting him know what's going on. The question is, I just want to see the next pairing. I want to know who I'm giving some trophies to later.
You can always tell the crew chiefs who aren't big fans of their drivers because they don't let their drivers talk back. Rick Chilton in the Aeroflow lane. Love to see him log a 6-second pass again. It'd be fantastic in this new car. They've worked so hard on it. They've really put blood, sweat and tears into this thing. Chris Soldatis, we know he can go into the 6-second zone. He's done it numerous times so far this weekend. Conditions now very, very good. Track conditions great. Oh, don't roll through the beams down there. 109 to 105 on the 60-foot timers. You'd have to think that that's a little bit slower than what you'd want to see from these two guys. 699 for Chris Soldatis. Gets the win. 197.3 miles per hour. That's up over 317 kilometres per hour. That's actually the top speed for the weekend for Pro Stock, so that's a good pass for him. And Rick Chilton was right alongside a 718, 192 miles per hour. But when you have a look at the short times, it was 109 for Rick Chilton, 105 to the 60-foot timer for Chris Soldatis. So they both rolled it in pretty deep, and I think that might have affected their elapsed time there.
Yeah, look at this one. It takes off pretty hard. Like you say, though, it's all about the staging. Goes to the left-hand side a little bit for Soldatis. It's a right on your screen, but Chilton now goes towards the centre line. They were very, very close, though, weren't they? Soldatis, though, with that 317 kilometres an hour, is the fastest run of the day.
And sorry to cut you off there. I think Soldatis may have only just pulled it up in time to go around the turnout down there, because I saw him going not fully deep, but he was definitely going a little bit deep towards that sand trap. So we've got the final round for Pro Stock coming your way. Robert Deckett taking on Clint George. Two fantastic looking cars. Robert Deckett, the unique body smash repairs Pontiac GXP at Hillside in Victoria. Clint George, the New South Welshman from Shelley Beach, racing for Longevity Auto Engineering. A guy who does everything himself, is an absolute freak for having things 100% right on these cars. He does everything himself. When he got this car, he purchased this car, he actually completely tore it down, replaced every single nut and bolt, checked every single weld, checked everything on the car, and rebuilt it from the ground up. It is an absolute testament to him and his crew. And he's also just a really, really good guy, an absolute gentleman of the sport. Rob Deckett up from Victoria. He's been the class of the field this weekend. Lots of 6-second passes, knocking PBs out of the park left, right and centre. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a big speed come out of this car this time around.
Well, Deckett there, you got to remember, it was only back in November last year that he actually broke for the first time into the 6-second zone. So his first 690 just November. Now he's done a string of them here today, and the conditions were more favourable back then in November. So now we're seeing the cooler air here tonight. Surely they're going to have a swing at this one. They want to bring home the win. Two relatively new drivers when it comes to pro stock racing. They've been around the drag scene, racing in Supercomp and other different classes prior to this, but as pro stock drivers, and like I say, a lot to do there in the cabin. They've got 4 gear shifts to do in a very short period of time. 400 gears, they need to get their action done right in the clutch. Here we go, they come up. Deckett's got this one though. Something's happened with Clint George. He's on gas early. Deckett, what's the time going to be? 6.96. It's a 6.96 there for Rob Deckett. 317 kilometres an hour again. That's going to be very, very close. I didn't get the decimal point there when it came to Soldatis, but they're spot on.
Not quite as fast as Chris Soldatis in terms of speed, but certainly in terms of elapsed time, 6.96, low elapsed time of the session, and that will give him the trophy today for the win in Pro Stock. Although it's not a championship round, it is still a win in a Pro Stock bracket, and that is fantastic for that team. Congratulations to them. We're about to burn some nitro now, Mr. Kavanagh. I can see some two-wheel variety down there.
Some two-wheel nitro fun.
Top Bike about to come through and fire up for their third and final run at this track this afternoon. John Zara will line up in the Rocket Industries lane, taking on Danny Rickard from Old Norrlunga in South Australia. Great to see the South Aussies travelling over. And one thing I have noticed today from John Zara has been the burnouts. He has been getting absolutely stuck into them and making his crew guys work. He either is trying to punish his crew guys or maybe help them lose a few kegs. I'm not sure what's going on, but he's certainly doing big smoky burnouts, going way out past the 60 timers. And the poor old crew, well, they need to push him on back then, and these are not light motorcycles.
Oh, see, his crew have been talking to him. That's what you were talking about. Because, like you say, it is very hard to push back. We had to see help there. Once you get started to get those legs pumping, it's like trying to, it's worse than trying to run in the sand, maybe with some tyres strapped to you. But the crew, they've used 2 this time.
Yeah.
You've got to get 2 people power to get that back. So 2 people power to get him back. John Zara there. This is one of those bikes that has the potential to go in the 5-second zone now. Will it be tonight? It hasn't been his weekend. It started off yesterday when in warm-up, just in the pits, they heard an engine. They had to put the spare engine in. So they've done a lot of work prior to today. Now they've come out. They've got a couple of runs. They've got a few changes to the aero on this bike, the back, the wing. And then they've also been just mucking around. Everyone's got their little custom things they like to do on the clutch.
Looks like he's actually got quite a big bearing around the front of the bike as well. Just trying to redirect the air. Let's face it, when you're going over 240 miles an hour, you need the air to be flowing around you, not through you, because it's just going to make life harder. Now, Danny Rickard, you hear, just going through his burnout procedure now. Much quicker burnout procedure for this motorcycle, so they delay firing the bike up. And he will roll pretty much straight up to the start line and straight into stage.
One thing I noticed between the two is you look at the big horsepower difference there. Obviously the smaller cube engine there, Danny Rickard, the supercharged 1500cc there, Zara. Look at the back tyres. That is absolutely mammoth on there, but it's tall as well. It takes a lot of horsepower to keep on top of that and get the momentum up from that standstill start. Rickard there, bit smaller tyre.
It was pretty clean for John Zara. He has a couple of stabs at it. And you know what? Danny Rickard might just get the win here if he can keep it off the centre line. I think he did. And a 7.80, 249 kilometres per hour for Danny Rickard gets the win. You talk about the giant killer there for Danny Rickard. John Zara left the line pretty cleanly. 113 to the 60 foot, the first incremental timer. 306 to the 330, but by that point he was already off the throttle, giving it a pedal, and unfortunately a 10.03. Not representative of what he would expect or where he would expect that motorcycle to be.
Yeah, we have a look at the replays here. Zara there, the flames come out, the nitro. Very, very early there, tries another stab at it. Very hard to do that with the nitros, the cylinders fill up. You don't want it to, they're very explosive there. You get on and off it there and it can cause something, you know, to combust underneath. You're riding on top of that. It's a bomb.
Yeah, if too much fuel goes in without actually igniting the fuel, what tends to happen is it compresses. When nitro compresses, it becomes very explosive. When it becomes explosive without the spark in there, it can do all sorts of things like kick rods out. It can put on these particular motorcycles, blow the head off them, split the head, do all sorts of damage, and that's not what you want to do. So John Zara, I think discretion the better part of valor there for him, and he will roll it on through. Now, the A final is coming up, and this is going to be one of those things where, on paper, when you look at it, the potential of Chris Matheson's bike, you think he's got this one run. But for Rob Cassar, he has been so consistent this weekend, running bang on that 7-0 mark pretty much all weekend long. He'd love to log a 690 here, and if Chris Matheson can't get down the racetrack for whatever reason, Cassar's going to be right there.
Yeah, Matheson warming up. The Voodoo Nitro bike here as he comes out. He's looking for it. We keep talking about the 5-second barrier, that someone needs to do it. And another one putting his team to the punishment, getting the big, long burnouts done. However, my money is on Robert Cassar. He's been super consistent. Slightly less horsepower, yes, but the bike is getting down the track very, very consistently. Matheson, though, the track conditions are coming to him. The air's coming. He's getting those familiar sort of settings coming back into the bike. If he can get it down the track, if he can even go three-quarter track under power, it's going to be hard to catch him with the speed of that bike.
Absolutely. So, these are about the best conditions that Chris Matheson has raced in, I would say, for probably more than 12 months. With all of the delays and the lockdowns and everything else that's going on, it's fantastic to be racing in front of a big crowd here in Sydney under lights. And you would have to think that if he's got any kind of shot at the 5-second mark, this is it. Cool night air. You've got great conditions, a fantastic racetrack, probably the smoothest, flattest racetrack in the country. Can't ask for much more than that.
He's been almost 400 kilometres an hour on this bike, Chris Matheson. Can he do it, or will it be Rob Cassar continuing this fantastic streak that he's had? He's been super consistent all day. He deserves the win on paper. Despite Matho getting the win, he hasn't made it down the track under full power. The candles are lit. Matho's underway. Oh, no, he's on it again.
And he gets there first to 671, 183 miles per hour. Rob Cassar was right there with a 705, 299 k's now, almost on the 300 kilometre an hour mark. But for Chris Matheson, it looked like it just kicked the tyre loose about 100 metres out off the start line. Let's have a look at the replay. Round about there, you can see the back of the bike start to move around. He rolls off, gets back on, and was that a flash of flame out the front of the bike?
I didn't see that. It's still going on at the back, though. It's still making a little bit of power further on, but maybe it's breaking down. You can see the candles lit. All of a sudden they go out, the bike gets out of shape, like you say, back onto it, and then you can just see, is that a reflection maybe? I think that's a reflection off the side, but he keeps on. He wants the win. He absolutely wants the win.
Absolutely, he wants the win, and there are plenty of other races that want the win. Chad Naylon, I'm sure, is down there with one of them.
Well, I'm just getting ready now for what is going to be the first of the final races in the final round of Top Fuel tonight. The first ever event of the Burson Auto Parts Australian Top Fuel Championship. And it comes down to this. This amazing crowd here at Sydney Dragway tonight has waited for this final round of racing, and we're going to crown our first champion in this brand new season. We've got burnout cars still to come off the back of this, and we've got fireworks as well. So there's lots to look forward to. But let's bring out the first car in our first matchup. And in the Aeroflow lane, in what is going to be an all-Sydney race. Sydney, can you put your hands together for one final time? Driving the Atlantic Oils Rapasada Autosport International Top Fuel Dragster, it's Wayne Newby. And after a heroic effort in the pits between the last few rounds, they had some dramas. It looked unlikely that they'd be ready, but here it comes, the Burson Auto Parts Top Fuel Dragster of Shane Olive. huge effort from the Lamartina team with a brand new crew to get this car ready. This is the first of the 3 races in the finals. Remember, they are playing for 5th and 6th, so the winner gets a top 5 performance. Then the next race will be the B final. That'll be for 3rd. And the final pass tonight in Top Fuel will be for the win. And that'll be Pete Chivers versus Phil Reed. We are ready to go. It's been a hard ask for this team to get out for this 3rd race. Can Shane Olive get his first ever win light? To do it, he's going to go up against Wayne Newby.
Well, this is going to be an absolute cracker. And you got a feel for Shane Olive. He would have loved to get his first round win in front of the hometown crowd here with a crowd like this in the house. But he does get to take on one of his very, very good mates over in the other lane in the form of Wayne Newby. These guys are good mates. They have been friends for a very long time. So to race each other, I'm sure it's something that's pretty special to both of these guys.
And look, Luke Marsden there just looking on. They have been thrashing in the pits. Imagine, they probably thought they were not going to make it out here for this run, but they decided that they would continue to work on it. They would just continue to thrash at that motor, and somehow they've got it out and they've made it to the lanes, and now they're up against Newby to see who's going to take it home here. Of course, like you say, this is basically the C final here. Both these drivers haven't had the racing they wanted to start the season off with, haven't had a win so far, so one of them's going to get a win. That's a good news story. Someone's walking away with a win here in this little final. The final adjustments there. Santino does the final check before he sends him out for the burnout. Shane Olive and Luke Marsden. Obviously in the Burson's Auto Parts drags in the right-hand lane.
And you got to be honest, for Shane Olive, it's really been a case of being unlucky. That first round, he almost had Larry Dixon. Very, very nearly got him. Second round, it looked like it just bombed the tyres straight off the edge, just trying to throw too much at it. And for Wayne Newby, similar sort of deal. He's been there or thereabouts, but just couldn't get it all the way to the finish line. If they can make it hook up, this is going to be a great side-by-side pass.
Newby, though, has done a couple of runs, test runs, though, in the spare car. So he's done a couple there, and they did. Unfortunately, we didn't get a time on the system, but looking at the data, they said that was a very quick run. So Newby's had a bit more seat time tonight. We'll have to wait and see if that plays into how they go. Shane Olive, I think he'll be a lot more comfortable sitting up alongside Wayne Newby because he's raced him many times before.
Well, Shane Olive in the Lamartina family Top Fuel car, the second of the Lamartina cars, racing the Burson Auto Parts in the Burson Auto Parts Australian Top Fuel Championship Series. And Wayne Newby racing for Atlantic Oils, Uplift Cranes, and of course Titan Cranes as well. Rapasada Autosport International is the team. They are the Goliath of Australian Top Fuel racing in terms of numbers. Both cars bumping into pre-stage now. We are not too far away from the set. Look at the cameras up in the grandstand. Clean on both sides of the racetrack. Big explosion for Shane Olive in a 387 up on the boards for Wayne Newby at just over 514 kilometres per hour. For Shane Olive, that was a big concussion at the other end of the racetrack. How good was that? 408 is the number. Now, Shane has actually done exactly the right thing, pulled it over to the top end of the racetrack, pulled it over to the wall in case there is anything coming out of the car. And we got some fireworks going on up there in the grandstand as well.
Well, we had fireworks going on everywhere. I can't wait to see the replay on this one because Shane Olive's car, see the big burst panel come in. I reckon that blow was moving around at the moment. It's probably lifted up. Replay time now, though, and let's have a look. The candles are let both get away, and they're, a 0.85 on both sides of the 60-foot. But look at that. The fireworks started early.
Absolutely. Lifted the supercharger clean off the top of the engine. I can see a few people moving around in the grandstand. Don't go anywhere. We've still got another 2 pairs of Top Fuel cars left to come. Looking at the head-on replay, that was a big concussion. And for Shane Olive, well, welcome to Top Fuel. That's what it's all about. Wouldn't be the first time he's knocked a blower off a car, but I'll tell you what, you definitely feel the concussion in one of these things. For Wayne Newby, though, that's a great shot of confidence. A 387 at over 514 kilometres per hour. I think they'd be pretty happy with that. And Chad Nailon, that was an impressive pass.
It was. I'll put it to Santino right now. Rusty Gregory saying upstairs that gives you guys a shot of confidence, and you'd be pretty happy with that. Is that a fair statement?
It's a better way to put the car in the trailer, and we've had an interesting day. Getting a successful run in is a nice way to go to the workshop.
Plans for next time? We're not too far away from being back at the racetrack for round 2.
Well, it's very important that the race pack was working on that one, so I'm going to study it pretty hard and figure out where I need to go from here.
Does that suggest that the race pack wasn't working on the earlier ones?
No, it's just that this is the only good piece of information I have.
I like it. Santino, well done, buddy. That was a really strong pass. Hopefully not too much damage for the guys in the other lane, but that was a good job, mate. Well done.
Thank you.
Don't let his youthful looks trick you. He has got so much experience in tuning these cars, and I can tell by the body language that he's not overly happy with the way the car has performed tonight, but I think they would be happy to see something with a 380 pop up on the boards as the last run of the night. They can go home and study it, and I'm sure that when they come out next time, they will come out swinging.
Yeah, 3 days, 87 is not a bad time. 514 kilometres an hour is right up there with what we've seen so far when it comes to racing. It's actually probably, I reckon, the fastest pass we have seen here today in Top Fuel. And though, like you say, a bit of confidence to take away from that one, but I just got to love Santino. He's there. He could be a politician, couldn't he?
He could also be a Formula One team boss, just quietly, the way he plays the political game, taking inspiration from Toto Wolff. Now, that also does give him top speed points at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah, that will give him a few extra points in the championship, top speed, and just confirming that that was the fastest pass we've seen here today. Look at the fireworks starting early there for Shane Olive. Lifts the blower up. You see the explosion there underneath. Pretty standard when you're running these down the track, as you do see, and then the fireworks go off in the background, but lifts the blower off. They've got the restraints there. It grabs it. There's a containment on that as well. So a lot of this, hopefully, we're not going to see too much down there. Just a quick clean-up, and we should be back underway.
Hopefully it's just a quick drag of the tyres and we'll be able to keep on pushing on with it. And I think this is the first time we've actually had to see this today from the Burson Auto Parts Australian Top Fuel Championship Series. And you're right about the containment devices. You could see that supercharger come off the top. Now, those superchargers are wrapped in a ballistic blanket. They also have restraints to stop them from floating around. But everything on that engine has got restraints on it. The spark plug covers, so where the plug leads actually go over to the spark plugs, they've got covers over it in case, because it has been known to happen, the spark plug can fire straight out of strip the thread and fire straight out of the head. So they've got covers on there. They've got containment devices underneath the car, both around the sump, and then also a pan that runs all the way on the outside of the chassis rails to catch any fluid that could possibly come out of these cars. So it is all about engine containment and I guess liquid management when it doesn't go right with these Top Fuel cars.
Look, we love the Fuchs lubricants there, and we know they're part of the Lamartino Top Fuel team. We love the Fuchs lubricants, but it's great when they stay in the vehicle.
Yeah, keep them on the inside. We don't like to get them on the outside. That's for sure.
Don't go anywhere, Sydney Dragway, because we still got plenty more. We got 2 more Top Fuel runs, and we got burnout cars still to come here at the Burson's Auto Parts Australian Top Fuel Championship. We're going to get them out there on the burnout pad, and a whole heap more fireworks to keep you entertained.
There is certainly plenty going on, that is for sure. And you can see that the tractor's rolling out there. The fact that we're not having to bag this says to me that it's going to be hopefully a fairly quick clean-up and we'll be able to keep rolling on with the racing. That was a big concussion out of that engine for Shane Olive. And I dare say that's almost certainly the reason why we've got some kind of liquid or some kind of fluid on the racing surface. Hopefully it is not too major, but let's have a look at the replay one more time, because you can see there's a few sparklers out of the engine there. That's not uncommon with Top Fuel dragsters, but you see it continues on down the racetrack. And generally, that's when things get a little bit messy. And when it lifts the supercharger off the top of the engine, have a look at his head inside that car when it goes pop. You see his head absolutely snap forward as the deceleration starts from peak acceleration, because that's exactly where he is at that point in the track. Peak acceleration with a Top Fuel dragster. And when it all stops, it stops very, very suddenly.
Well, let's hope that's not something. Remember the thrash they had to do to get the car out here. So they put a valve earlier.
Have we got any fuel? Can you ask Nathan, because I can't talk to him? Any fuel, anything.
It's very lucky.
Sorry, mate.
Get out here and race.
I was.
Out there on track, but we will have Top Fuel coming your way. The B final going to be your way next. Of course, it's Phil Lamartina and Larry Dixon who'll be facing off for that one. Of course, Mr. Lamartina will be in our left-hand lane. Larry Dixon from the United States, the NHRA champion, will be over there in the right-hand lane. Can he go home with a smile on his face after coming to Australia? Last minute, left there on Tuesday, left the United States on Tuesday, flew all the way to Australia, got back together, familiarised himself with the Rapasada Intersport, the Rapasada team. It's been a long day, hasn't it?
It has been a long day, and it was definitely a long transit for Larry Dixon to get to work to this weekend, that's for sure. Had to sort out a couple of visa issues, not to the same extent as a certain tennis player that maybe came down to visit Australia recently, but did everything, got it all sorted, and well, the great news is for us here at Sydney Dragways that we get to see an absolute icon, an absolute legend of the sport come out and race here in front of this fantastic crowd, and it is just awesome to have Larry Dixon back here in Australia once again.
Well, it has been almost 5 years, about 4.5 years since he's been down under to race with the Rapisada crew. The Rapisada Autosport International team have done a fantastic job to get here. And, Chad, we're about to get underway with our B final.
Yeah, this is for the first trophy of the season. It started out as a pretty rough night for this guy, but did get a win light in round 2, which gave him a chance to go through on 40 points to the second round, and has that lane choice for this next race. He's going to be rolling out in the Aeroflame lane and driving the Lamartina Family Racing Fuchs Lubricants Top Fuel Dragster. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Phil Lamartina. And a repeat of what we saw in that second round earlier today. It's Phil Lamartina once again running alongside the man who's travelled all the way from the USA to be here today in the Atlantic Oils Rapisada Autosport International Top Fuel Dragster. One final time, Cindy, it's Larry Dixon. What an honour to have this man here in the country running once again. The flames and the fireworks going off. This is Top Fuel Racing, the Burson Auto Parts Top Fuel Championship, putting on a show, the very first round of this brand new era of the sport. And this will be for the first trophy, so whoever wins this race will claim the final step on the podium. This is for third place, and it is a winner-take-all scenario. Will Larry Dixon be heading home with a little bit of extra baggage on the plane and a trophy to take back to the United States, or will it be Phil Lamartina as we get set to fire these cars up?
Yeah, Phil Lamartina, it didn't really start too well for him this weekend, but they finally got a run in that last round. And can he bring home? Now he's found a little bit of momentum. It was a 3.94 last time. Larry Dixon the same. They had a few issues when they came into qualifying, but they managed to get that down in the first round of racing and got himself a win there. Last round wasn't so happy for him, didn't quite make it there. It was a good run though. We'll have to wait and find out though as we fire him up. Of course, Larry Dixon, the Rapisada Andra Drag Racing Top Fuel car, fired up the nitro. You can see the raw fuel coming out, so much going in as they idle. Wait for the burnout. Now it's Phil Lamartina who's going to warm the tyres up first.
Something's going on with the car for Larry Dixon. They just had a little bit of trouble just adjusting the idle on the car to get it to move forward. Looks like it's all good now. Actually, it's all... Oh, nice out of shape burnout down there for Larry Dixon. It's not ideal for performance, but I tell you what, he certainly kept it nice and straight. A lesser driver probably would have got that a little bit more sideways than what he did. And, well, Larry Dixon, let's talk about him. Three-time NHRA champion, has done everything there is to do in this sport. He's won the US Nationals. He has won pretty much every major title when it comes to Top Fuel. He's even got a two-seat car back home in the United States, which he offers rides to people in, a two-seat Top Fuel car. But coming down to racing down here in Australia is a completely different thing altogether. Here's the replay. Look at just how sideways he gets his car and how much steering lock he had to crank into it to keep it in his own lane. That's a lot more sideways than you ever want to get in a Top Fuel dragster. Phil Lamartina, racing out of Weeman in Victoria, the Fuchs Lubricants Top Fuel dragster. A perennial championship contender, it goes without saying, has been doing this for a very, very long time now. And for Phil, he would love to take home a win here in the B final against one of the world's best drivers and also one of the world's best teams in the former Rapisada Autosport International. They leave nothing on the table, nothing to chance. This is going to be a great matchup. Both cars edging towards stage now. Who will take home third place on the podium? We had ourselves a race, and it's a 3:88 for Phil Lamattina at 313 miles per hour, 504 kilometres an hour. And for Larry Dixon, he missed out by just that much, a 3:89, only 0.08 of a second difference in the elapsed times. It was a little bit bigger at the finish line, courtesy of the reaction time advantage for Phil Lamattina. But man, what a side-by-side race. Side-by-side 3-second runs, both around the 300-mile-an-hour mark. Great race, Matty Cav.
As we go to the replay, this could have been anyone's race here as they go past the 660. Just goes out a little bit early there for Larry Dixon. You can see the candles go down, but Phil Lamattina carries it through to the 1,000 foot. Just gets a little bit sideways on the start there on top of the tyre. You can see the head gaskets burning up, but they make it.
And you know what? It was basically a carbon copy of what happened to Shane Olive, the other team car, knocking the supercharger off the top of the engine with Phil Lamattina. The difference is this time around he gets the win. And Chad Nailon, you're going to have a very happy crew chief.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Hambridge, that was just an awesome drag race.
Yeah, no, it was killer. It doesn't get any tighter than that. Looks like we heard it in the finish line, but at this point in time, I don't really care. I'll worry about it next week. Listen, we were working towards that all weekend. We've changed a bunch of stuff, like I said earlier. We're creeping up on it. We are starting to get there, showing some promise. Hopefully we can come out with this momentum and start the next race off where we left here.
This format is so unusual. At the beginning of the day, it was looking awful for you guys. You know, qualified at the back, lost the first round, and then bam, straight back into it, walk away with the trophy.
Yeah, no, we knew we were close. I could have changed the car back to how we ran it last season, but then I'd be back with a slow car. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to persist with our new setup. And I knew it would come around, and it's only going to get better from here. So we were meant to test last weekend. We missed out on that. So that put us behind. But, hey, we got the win. That's all I care about.
Well done, mate.
Thanks.
Aaron Hambridge walking away from this event with third place in that team. And great effort from Phil Lamattina to get that car down the racetrack. That was an awesome run.
100%. I don't think I've seen Aaron Hambridge look quite so relieved for a long, long time. Gets it down there with the new combination that they've been working on. And sometimes that's the challenge that you have as a crew chief. You have to figure out whether or not you persist with the thing that you think is going to work if you can eventually get on top of it, or do you go back to what you know and maintain the status quo. It's not an easy decision to make. And Chad, you're down there on the start line once again.
It is time now for our final run of the night, the opening round of the Burson Auto Parts Australian Top Fuel Championship. Let's bring out our first driver in the Aeroflow lane from Jim Reed Racing Hydraulic Top Fuel. Here comes Phil Reed. Phil has lane choice for the final tonight. He's gone for that left lane. It's been a successful lane so far, but we just saw in that last pass that it does not matter which one you're running down. You can have equal chance at going to the top step tonight. 388 in that last round of racing. Can he get the job done? The opening round of the championship. And alongside him, let's bring out our next driver into the final round. He is your reigning Australian champion from the Premier Hire Racing Top Fuel Dragster team. Here comes Peter Shiveras. He was the man to beat at the end of last season. The Winter Nationals, he was pulling out some amazing times into the 3.7 second. Unheard of realm in Australian 1,000-foot racing. Can he go back to those speeds tonight? He may just need to get ahead of Phil Reed. The lowest DT so far, he has it with a 386. Remember, there's bonus points for that. Wayne Newby has the highest speed. All to play for Rusty in the final.
That is for sure, and we get to decide who's taking home the big trophy. That's what it's all about. And more importantly, it's about these championship points, because you've got to remember, these guys are going to be playing the long game, Matty Cav.
Yeah, it is a long game, but what a way to start off and get a win here at round one of the Burson's Auto Parts Top Fuel Championship. It just sets you up for the season, gives you that little advantage. Making it to the finals means you get some bonus points as well if you can go into the A final. Remembering, still looking at the moment, it's 514 kilometres from Wayne Newby, who could take out the fastest speed of this event. Then we've got the low ET, and we had that 383 when it came to qualifying, because qualifying's actually, according to my sheet, is included in that as well. So that's going to be low ET of the round. So we'll have to wait and see if that's going to play into Shiveras, get a bonus 5 points in that one as well. but he's come to the final. He's made it all this way. Phil Reid, will it be to the start of the season? The Hydrolink drag, so they haven't put this through a whole season really under these new yellow colours. But Premier, I mean, they're on a roll. Pete's just invested in supercars. He loves this drag racing. He's coming off the back of a championship. The momentum for both teams is fantastic at the moment, but who's going to walk away with the gold to stand on the podium here tonight?
Well, we're going to find out in less than 2 minutes' time. I'll tell you that right now. This is going to be a killer race. In terms of their quickest DTs for the weekend, there's only 200ths of a second between them. Both of these drivers have been on their game, and both of the crew chiefs have been on their game. Bruce Reid for Phil Reid, his brother. And for Peter Gibris, he's got the brains trust of Tim Adams and Ben Patterson. Short, sharp burnout for Phil Reid. It's actually sounded like Peter Gibris has had a lot higher RPM in the burnout. Don't know if that's just the way they had the car set up or what the case is. Hopefully nothing is too untoward there.
And we do have a throttle stop on them, don't they, when they perform the burnout? Because they open a full acceleration. These things will just over-rev and really hurt the engine. So a throttle stop there, just on the linkage there for butterflies.
Yeah, we are talking, you know, marginally cracking the throttle on these cars to do the burnout that you see there. Not even using anywhere close to even a quarter throttle on these cars to do those burnouts. So they'll go through the procedure that they have done already 4 times today. Well, this is the 4th time, I should say. And really, right now, it all comes down to the crew chiefs. They'll make their final adjustments, and then the pressure falls onto the drivers. They need to leave on time. They need to keep the car in the centre of the lane, and they need to be absolutely in tune with everything that's going on, because there is no time to react. You need to be on top of these things before they do it.
I love the respect from the teams. Both crew chiefs look at each other. Are you ready? Yes. Are you ready? Yes. All right, final adjustments. Let's send them in. We want a race to see this final here at the Burson's Auto Parts Australian Top Fuel Championship. Who will it be to win round number 1?
Clean race all the way through. What a race. Whole shot win for Phil Reid, 389. Takes the win over a 382. Incredible pass for Peter Gibris. Lower laps time of the event, but he loses the race on a whole shot. 0.189. 0.189 was the reaction time. 0.077 the reaction time for Phil Reid. Margin of victory at the other end of the racetrack, 0.05 of a second. What a way to finish things off for the Burson Auto Parts Australian Top Fuel Championship. The first ever winner in the series will be Phil Reid and the Hydrolink Racing, Jim Reid Racing team. Sensational effort. Down to you, Chad.
What absolute scenes. What a way to finish off the first round of the Burson Auto Parts Australian Top Fuel Championship. I'm with the winning crew chief right now. Bruce, usually it's up to the crew chief. Today it was up to the driver. That was an amazing drive.
Mate, when my brother's on it, he's on it. And I'm not a winning crew chief. I'm just a winning crew guy, because my brother won that race. That is friggin' awesome. That is unreal. What a start. What a great thing. Full credit to Pete and the boys, because we knew we had to give it to him, but Phil was ready for him, so it was awesome.
I just saw that top light, the pre-stage light blink out. Was that a plan that you guys brought in, or was this something that you weren't expecting?
Well, the theory is when you put the top light out, you shorten the racetrack by a couple of inches. And we knew that the Premier boys were going to come at us, and so we had to go. But when Phil's on it, he's on it. It was unreal. So I'd like to say thank you to Hydrolink and Valvoline, McDonald's, FXD Workwear. Peter from Premier also sponsors us. Odyssey Batteries, Pacific Pools, everybody. So.
Well done, mate. Now, how good's this? All part of the show. Now we're going to launch into some burnouts and celebrate, spray some champagne. It's all about the show tonight.
It is all about the show, and full credit to Andy Lopez and Nathan Prendergast, and thank the crowd for staying. I mean, look at them; they're still here. It's unreal.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is. It's awesome, and good to see you too, Chad.
On you, Bruce. Winners are grinners, mate. Well done.
Now, there's a lot to unpack here. Let's have a look at the replay, because you could see the visual reaction time advantage to Phil Reid, and Peter Gibris almost chased him down. There was only half a car length in it at the finish line, but for Phil Reid, that thing was clean. It made a little jump over towards the centre line just off the start, and, well, a huge whole shot reaction. What more can you say? As Bruce said, the crew chief didn't win that one. That one all came down to the driver. Massive reaction time advantage, and that's all she wrote, Matty Cav.
I don't think we can get a better way to finish the Burson's Auto Parts Australian Top Fuel Championship for round number 1 with a side-by-side 3-second run like that. Remembering both cars doing excess of 500 kilometres an hour side-by-side at the end, and we get a low ET there with a 3.828. For the runner-up, Pete Chibris, can't quite get the run around.
100%. You can see the interviews happening down there on the racetrack. Phil Reid, why not? Why not? It is going to be a sensational celebration in the Jim Reid Racing crew pit area tonight, that is for sure. We will be doing presentations for the top fuel category very, very shortly before we get into the burnouts to finish off the night. And, wow, we got some absolute killer burnout cars lined up, ready to come out, Matty Cav. Let's be honest, this is your jam, isn't it?
Mate, this is my thing. Fresh off of Summernats, of course, supporting us here with the burnouts tonight. Brought to you by Summernats. Remember, you can get your tickets for 2023 now already at summernats.com.au. Dom Lucci, I can see him lined up. But let's check out the replay here. It's Top Fuel while we're here. The main reason we're here this weekend. Look at this, they edge in. It's a final that we wanted to see. Hydrolink just getting in, Premier Hire in the background, they nudge in, they just get there, the candles go up, the cars, they twist right up, all that torque thrown at the racetrack. You can see the raw fuel still coming out of the pipes. What a final, and to come down to just hundredths of a second over between them over the finish line, thousands even. As it looks like I can see Dom Lucci starting to put his suit on down there. Of course, that's a fantastic, he's a fantastic guy for starters, Dom Lucci, because we know and light him up, burnout master, and keen to get out there very shortly.
I've got to talk about what Phil Reid did there. I don't know whether it was intentional, whether he was playing the game, but by flicking that top bulb, that means he's very, very close to what's called deep stage, which is basically the warning that you're almost going to roll all the way through the staging beams. He was in very, very deep. Now, whether or not flicking that bulb as the car sat there in idle, basically just tricking the staging beams, nothing untoward in it, but did it distract Peter Xiberras just enough to give him that start line advantage? Who knows? Only Peter Xiberras can answer that question. I'm sure we'll find out during the presentation interviews, that's for sure. But what a way to finish it off. How about the smile from Bruce Reid? I don't think I've seen him smile that big since, well, ever, really.
Even Jim Reid there, I mean, they have a big smile on their face. I'm sure the Hydrolink team will be down there celebrating tonight. They've got so many people here this weekend. The people they pulled out of the crowd, we gave away 3 start line experiences today, all thanks to Hydrolink. Look at this, they're going to be able to go down and party with the crew now, I reckon.
I think the party is certainly going to be on, that's for sure. Big hello to Wayne Abbott and the whole team from Hydrolink who are here this weekend doing a sensational job with their activations, that is for sure. And we've just got to get those cars up from the top end of the racetrack. Once we do that, we'll do the presentations up here and then we'll be able to kick straight on with the burnouts. But let's just recap. What a sensational day of racing. We've seen side-by-side passes all day long. Just absolutely incredible racing. What a show that's been put on for the Sydney Dragway crowd here tonight.
And we really saved it as the day went on, didn't we? Because we come into the finals, it's going to be Wayne Newby taking on Shane Olive. Shane Olive had to do that thrash. Something's gone wrong. It's taken the blower off. But Wayne Newby, after probably a non-successful day, they haven't been really happy with the car, finally gets down. It looks like he's going to go top speed of the event, 514 kilometres an hour.
And that is absolutely moving in terms of the speed at the finish line. So when we talk about top speed, that is the terminal speed at the finish line as they cross the line. So obviously points are on offer, bonus points. They could be important in terms of this championship. Not so much at the start of the season, but when you get to the end of the season and you're counting all those little bits and pieces of points that you could have picked up along the way, sometimes they can make all the difference.
Yeah, and, you know, Phil Lamartina, like you say, they found it in the last couple of runs, didn't they? And Aaron Hainbridge looking a lot happier as they went back in there. I like his philosophy. I could have put the slow tune-up back in it. We know that gets down the track, but I want to work with the new setup. I want to make it happen because we're going to be back in 3 weeks' time. Let's talk about that. Just 3 weeks, we're going to turn this round. The Nationals now being run at Sydney Dragway. Not ready in Victoria quite yet, so they're going to bring them up to Sydney. It's the 11th and 12th of February. You can get your tickets online now.
Absolutely. Competitor entries are open and spectator tickets are open as well. So make sure you jump on and get it. If you enjoyed tonight, which I'm going to be honest, if you didn't enjoy tonight, you probably don't have a pulse. That's really what it's going to come down to. So if you enjoyed tonight, make sure you jump online, get your tickets on the website right now because it is going to be an absolutely killer show in another 3 weeks' time, that is for sure. And when these teams come back up the racetrack, which is exactly where they're going to be going, they're going to be looping back around and coming back up the racetrack. Make some noise for these teams because they have absolutely worked their backsides off all day long here in the heat, in the rain, in everything. And let's have a look at some highlight packages, or a highlight I should say, from this evening's racing. You can see that was the first pair that we saw, the concussion out of Shane Olive's car. Huge explosion at the top end of the racetrack. One more look at it from here. You can see it had some sparklers coming out. It didn't look happy, but it was going pretty hard, and then the supercharger came off the top end of the engine. Not what he wanted, but it did give Wayne Newby a round win.
Well, like they say, they were only minutes away from not making it out for this race, so they were very lucky to get the car put back together. We're never going to know. We'll have to go and talk to the crews after to find out maybe something not quite done right in the rush, or maybe it's just how volatile the nitro is.
That's just racing nitro. That's all that is. But if you don't lift the supercharger off every now and then, you're probably not trying hard enough. That's what it's really all about. But one more shot at it on the head-on. You can see it was pretty clean, chucking out a couple of sparklers here and there, but it didn't look too unhappy. But then when the supercharger did come off, it was sudden, it was violent, and that was pretty much all she wrote. Let's have a look. This is going to be the great shot. Have a look at the slow-mo here. Bang, you see his head snap forward, and the speed shot down at the finish line. It goes to show just how fast these cars are moving at the stride.
Yeah, it's already at the hard track point where they're well over, pushing in excess of 300 kilometres an hour as they go halfway down the track. So the speed they're already carrying, when something like this does happen, as we move on to our next file, you can see the Rapisada car, Larry Dixon there in the right-hand lane, and the team are egging him on. He almost made it. He held it down, and he just quite didn't get there, and it came down to 61 thousandths of a second, the difference with them over the line between him and Phil Lamartina.
Super tight. And for Phil Lamartina, he'd be happy to just take away another round win. Now, what you said before was exactly right. For the crew chief, the Aaron Hambridge, they can keep doing the same thing, or they can try something new. If they try something new, you're probably going to find something that will progress the plan. And when you've got two cars as well, sometimes it allows you to do that, because you've obviously got that backup plan that you can maybe go up to the tune-up that's in the other car. Either way, lift the supercharger off the top of the engine. The difference between him and Shane Olive was he got the round win.
Yeah, it went all the way to the 1,000 foot, which is what they run here, just 300 metres in top fuel. So made it there before. They had that same issue where it lifted the blower. Check out the replay once again. Of course, the Fuchs lubricant. Phil Lamartina just starts moving around near the 1,000 foot and then lifts the blower once it's gone across the finish line. So got the race won and done first, but they are obviously leaning on parts in that car.
And you know what? If that's what you got to do to win rounds, that's what you got to do to win rounds. That's the cost of going racing. Larry Dixon did shut it off just a touch early. How's the shot there? Right in your face. That's what Top Fuel is all about. Lifting the supercharger off right at the stripe. But you can see now the two finalists coming back up along the return road. Peter Shiveris in the Premier Hire Top Fuel Dragster will be the first car coming up. And then our winner, Phil Reed in the Hydrolink Dragster, not too far behind. Presentation's not too far away, guys. And we'll be able to give out some of these fantastic looking trophies that we've got for the Burson Auto Parts Australian Top Fuel Championship.
Do not go anywhere. You're going to want to see the excitement on the face of the Reed crew, because they were ecstatic down there on the start line. We can't wait to talk to them here, and we're finally going to get a word there with Phil Reed in front of the crowd. So stay around, listen to that. But we've also got, all thanks to Summernats, the Burnout Masters are coming out. We've got ourselves a heap of cars in there. We're going to smash some tyres out here in the Burnout pad at Sydney Dragway, and the fireworks as well.
100%. The Sydney Dragway Burnout Pad presented by Summernats and the Burnout Masters game. That's one thing. If you haven't got the Burnout Masters game, jump on and get it. It's a great way to kill some time. I can speak from personal experience there. There's many, many jobs I should be getting done at home, but instead I'm on the phone playing the game. And that's exactly why I won't let my kids get on it either, because I know they'll be pinching my phone left, right and centre. Jump on, get it. It is an absolute killer game, and it's a whole bunch of fun. And we do thank Summernats as well for their support of Sydney Dragway and also this event.
It's a long tow to come back there, isn't it? They had to turn the cars around. It's a small space. These are a long dragster, a very, very long dragster, but they're coming up and they want to join their crew.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it seemed a lot quicker when they went down the racetrack.
Yeah, yeah, they're not as fast on the way back there. Not as fast.
And that is pretty much it from us up here. We're going to go down to Chad to give out some trophies.
Just going to sap up the celebrations down here in a minute. I get the feeling that there's going to be a huge reception for Phil Reed when he gets back into the staging area up and where we're standing right now with his team ready to welcome him back there. Giving a big round of applause to Pete Shiveris at the moment, Jim Reed in there as well. Bruce can't actually wait for Phil to get back. He's going to run down and pull him out the back of this Ford Ranger. He's so happy. Here comes Phil Reid once again, high-fiving the team. He's going to jump out and grab his crew guys. And I reckon this is going to be pretty special when he runs over to see his team once again. Jim Reid in there, gives him a big hug. We've seen Phil Reid have some pretty special wins, but tonight he did it from the cockpit. His wife Julie and the team down here. You can celebrate, Phil. You can celebrate. We're going to let him get through the team. And we'll do our 3-2-1 handouts and trophies. Thanks to Burson Auto Parts for their support in this series. How cool is that? Bruce Reid, the tuner, Phil Reid, the driver. And they have just done an amazing job. And we'll get set for our third, second and first place drivers to step up and get some trophies. Alrighty, we're nearly ready to go. We've got the crowd in the background and we've got trophies. Matilda Simpson-Brewer is going to be handing over the trophies for our third, second and first place drivers. Sydney Dragway, can you please make some noise? Third place tonight is Phil Lamatina. Hey Phil, well done. A trophy to take home from the very first round of a brand new era in the sport. It didn't look likely at one point and you came home with a real wet sail.
Yeah, look, what is it, from the doghouse to the penthouse? Look, can't thank the boys enough. You know, we're behind the 8 ball and we just sort of creeping up on it slowly, and we're probably 1 run short. But it's great to get third position. All good for my boys. Fuchs coming on board again. Like I said, 19th year. We must be doing something right, representing the brand well. So also too, congratulations to Phil Reid. Magnificent effort. Also to Pete, commiserations. That car's a rocket. We've got a lot of work to do to keep up. So onwards and upwards, and looking forward to the next round.
Any day you can beat Larry Dixon twice in a day is a good day.
It is a good day for a 3-time world champion. But anyway, we'll see how we go.
All right, Phil, good on you, buddy. Well done. Stick down here, mate. We're going to keep you nice and local for the celebrations that will be coming up in a moment. And the Hydrolink team putting their hands together as well. I'll let the photographers get some snaps, and I'll welcome up second place here today from the Premier Hire team, Peter Shibaris. Ladies and gentlemen, put some noise together for your low ET man, Pete Shibaris. Matilda's got the trophy. Well done, Peter. I'll move in for a chat in just a moment. Second place with the low ET of the night. Oh, what are we feeling right now, Peter? Is this a good second place or a hard second place to take?
No, it's hard. My team done all the work. They gave me an awesome car. It was quick. I stuffed up and didn't cut a good light, and yeah, I've let the team down. So anyway, look, second's still a good achievement, and hopefully we'll come back bigger and better and stronger.
The boys in commentary were wondering when Phil's top light flickered and went out, did that catch your attention? Did that maybe have a role in the loss tonight?
I could use it as an excuse, but it probably won't work.
Good to see a little smile on your face, mate. Well done. First night of racing. You've got a very fast car, and that is the silver lining here.
Definitely. No, the car's awesome. Thank you.
All right, hop over here. The photographers will get a couple of snaps with you. Second place tonight. We'll be spraying some champagne in just a moment. Well, Sydney, we've got to make a lot of noise for this guy because he had to earn that win light, and he's going to earn this trophy from Jim Reid Racing at Hydrolink. It's Phil Reid, your winner! That could be one of the best drives you have brought out in your history to get a win light, let it alone be in a final. Phil, that was incredible.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not going to lie, I went in a little bit deep. I didn't mean to look at the top bowl, but, you know, so Pete shouldn't beat himself up too much. We're both sponsored by Premier. He actually sponsors me, but, you know, it's exciting. I'm just so happy it went down. It didn't drop cylinders. It wasn't shuttering. It was clean. It was just a picture-perfect run. And, you know, to my crew and to Hydrolink and, you know, the Halford family and McDonald's, FXD, and, of course, we didn't spill a drop of Valvoline oil all weekend. So it's just, I can't thank my sponsors enough, and to my boys over here, you know, I got a bit emotional. They put their lives on hold for us to live our dream. And you know, we've got Ken Yateman over here. He's been a longer part of Jim Reed racing than I've been alive. So, but yeah, and to the track officials, this track was killer. To all Andy and Nathan, the whole team that put this thing together, mate, we're going places. You know, Top Fuel's alive and well, and it's a breath of fresh air. And you know, and most importantly, I have never seen a crowd like this stick around after a final to listen to a speech. So thank you very much. We really appreciate you guys coming out. You know, and to quote Jeff Fennick, we love you all.
The Marrickville Mauler is down here and ready to go. I want to see some celebrations down here. Hey, let's get our first, second and third guys in. Chuck the trophies up on the right there, and we'll get you guys ready to go. Hop in, boys. Bring the champagne over. We've got a big crowd in the background. And guys, with the fireworks going, let's spray some champagne.
What a celebration down there on the racetrack. It's the first time I've seen liquid actually willingly spilled on a racetrack. The champagne flowing free down there, and you can tell by the body language by Peter Gibberis. He's happy with second place, but he's not satisfied. He knows that there was a bit left on the table.
You got to remember, when you come in a Top Fuel race, you're super competitive, and that's obviously Pete there. You can see the little bit of disappointment there, but obviously the respect there for he knows what the Reeds have done. As we check out a replay of the final there, nothing wrong with the run. This went low ET of the round.
And full credit to him as well. He didn't make excuses. He didn't try and blame anything. Didn't try and blame the flickering top bulb in the other lane. He just said, you know what, I didn't do a good enough job. I owe my team more than that. And I tell you what, you will not want to come up against Peter Gibberis for the rest of this season, because he's going to be hungry to avenge that loss. You don't want to lose the first round of anything, let alone the first round of this brand new series, the Burson Auto Parts Australian Top Fuel Championship. It was a great final round nonetheless, and fitting that it was won on a hole shot by Phil Reed in the Hydrolink car.
I'm loving the footage here. You can see how close it is. They go past the finish line at the 1,000-foot, 300 metres, and there was absolutely nothing in it. He almost came back from that reaction time where it just wasn't as good, though, as Phil Reed. And have a look at the team there as they celebrate. It's been a long day, remembering that we didn't get our second qualifier in yesterday, so they've actually turned these cars around 4 times today, and the amount of work, we know it takes about 1.5 to 2 hours. They pull the engines down, they put them back together. Depending on how much damage they may or may not have done, I think for the Reeds, they've probably got away with it this weekend. Phil Lamartina, a hard weekend for him. He ends up on the podium after just not getting the car down there so many times. But they came around the end, missing out on those vital test days leading into this, obviously with the weather and all the situation going on around the country.
Absolutely. It's been challenging in the lead up to it, that's for sure. The weather has not played the game up until today. Even at the start of today, Mother Nature was still trying to make her presence felt. But I tell you what, we got the last laugh. That's what it's about.
It was a glorious day here at Sydney Dragway. Despite a little bit of precipitation here this morning, it dried out. Fantastic racing from all the categories here who've come to support the Burson's Auto Parts Australian Top Fuel Championship. Of course, Pro Stock was absolutely fantastic. The Pro Mod guys put on a show there, running their index class, and we need to thank the Top Fuel motorcycle as well. We didn't get the 5-second pass, but they're going to travel around. They love burning the nitro, and we may see it this year.
Look, who knows? Who knows? There is certainly plenty to play for, and there is plenty to play out in this first season of the Burson Auto Parts Australian Top Fuel Championship. There is so much more left to be written in this story, and the 2022 season is certainly going to be one to keep an eye on, that is for sure. So the drag racing portion of this event is just about done, but we're not too far away from jumping into the burnouts. We can see our very first burnout competitor jumping in down there, and if you haven't seen competitive burnouts before, let me tell you, you're in for a treat.
Mate, it's a wild, naturally aspirated LS. Dom Lucci, he's got a drag car. He's been in the top 60 elite at Summernats. He ran for Grand Champion last year and this year at Summernats. Of course, the burnout's brought to you by Summernats this year, and of course, you can get your tickets for 2023 I can tell you now they have already halfway passed their competitor entries. Summonats.com.au, they are filling fast. It was a wild year this year, fantastic. Everyone got into it after the break. And Dom Lucci now brings the RPM up on this 400 cube LS from Russo Performance, and watch him throw it into the burnout pad here at Sydney Dragway. And not surprising, he's got the matching coloured tyres on board.
You've got to love that, don't you? It's all about customisation. It's all about matching.
Tyres go off, you can see it changes to white smoke and they're gone. He's down to rims on the line up there for Dom Lucci, and it was noise from start to finish in the burnout. He loves the RPM. It does not matter what he's driving. You like to keep it on edge. Dom Lucci in this HZ sedan.
How's the pipes underneath this thing? Absolutely glowing red hot.
He was in the Burnout Masters this year at Summonats. He won himself a chance here at some of the Burnout Masters competitions here at Sydney Dragway. That's how he managed to make it into the Masters at Summonats. And look at him, pumps the crowd up there, and looks like he's going to drive the car off. It's super reliable. The Russo Performance LS on board, of course, 416 cubes of... Well, you know, you've got to have an LS when it comes to burnouts. They seem to be the popular motor of choice, and you can tell why. Just the reliability they get out of them. Just having a look down there, though, as he comes off the pad. We're lining them up because we got more burnout cars coming your way, and a lot of these cars have been in the Burnout Masters before at Summonats. It's here, all thanks to Summonats, and that looks like Jesse Johnson now in Killer K, the blown LS combination. He's got the mechanical injection, of course. They feed these a whole heap of methanol. It tries to keep the engines nice and cool. Burns a lot cooler. Just waiting. There we go, gets given the signal, and here we go, straight up. Maximum RPM, throws it into the burnout pad. The noise goes out, he's somewhere, it's very smoky. I can see him out near the tyres over here to the exit of the burnout pad. It's a pretty still night. It makes it very hard for the burnout drivers there to see themselves. Maybe we've got the noise out. Fire crew is straight over there.
We need some big fans or something, don't we? To maybe just hang them off the awning, just try and blow the smoke away a little bit so we can see exactly what's going on. Replay the tip in here. Now, something went wrong. The car just went silent. And you would expect this thing to go a lot further along than what it did in the burnout.
Threw it in hard too, you know, the oil moves around a lot there, and I'm worried that maybe he just found a bit of friendship with that Burnout Master sign there on the corner on the truck tyre. You never know, maybe they're going to back this car up, still with the air in the tyres, and when it comes to burnout drivers, they don't like to have air in the tyres. It's purely what they do. They go out there, they mechanically punish these cars and just try and get those tyres off, but unfortunately, give him a round of applause, he takes the car off. Jesse Johnson, their Killer K, not the night to be. Still a few burnouts to come here tonight. It's been a fantastic round one of the Burson's Auto Parts Top Fuel Championship, and Aaron Schleek from Canberra has come over and to impress. Impress he did at Summonats this year. Of course, entries are now open, summonats.com.au if you want to get your tickets or enter your cars online. And of course, mechanically injected blown LS now as he throws in the burnout package and hence here. somewhere in the smoke there. Aaron Schleck, I don't know. Has he impressed? Is the car still going? We're quite a way away in the commentary box, but I'm just having a look as there's no wind out there whatsoever. That makes it very difficult. Not just for us to see. No, the car's still going. He's just waiting for a bit of daylight. Gorgeous car. He doesn't want to rub that on the concrete. We're not here for competition, so you're not going to want to take the paint off if you don't have to. Going now on the back of 2 Impress. The blower wire getting around. So we know which way he is facing. You hear the blower wire, the BG engines combination on board, doing a lot of these burnout engines now. Just making sure he gets the last bit of rubber off the rims. The hardest bit about doing burnouts, I think, is actually trying to get that bead off afterwards. Don't take it out on the burnout pad. It drives off on rim. Aaron Schleck, 2 Impress now, makes his way off the burnout pad here at Sydney Dragway, and we've still got 4 cars left to run here in the burnouts, and some of the best known names when it comes to burnouts in Australia. They are the wildest burnouts, and they go to the wildest car show in the world, which is Summernats, and of course you can get your tickets there at summernats.com.au for 2023 already. I don't know which Kilby it's going to be. It looks like it might be Brad Kilby on board. He's previously Summernats 33, been 3 on the podium. The Northwick engine, 400 cube LS, and listen to that sing, got the LEDs on board as well. Rosa there has got the Nissan Patrol dips under the front. That's why the wheels stick out so far. This is a very, very heavy car, weighing at around 1900 kilos, even with just a little LS on board. But Brad Kilby getting around. Listen to the RPM here. One tyre down, he's almost there. Second one almost down to rims. There we go, hammer time now with both tyres gone on the back of Brad Kilby. The husband and wife combination that compete at events. Normally 2 drivers in the same car, they back it up. It's a tough engine, Northwick engine, to make that happen. Joy's being out there in front of the crowd, but didn't get to drive as much as his wife at Summernats, so I reckon she's thrown him the keys and said, you know what, you can have this weekend. As he gets out, taps it on the roof, and has done his job once again. The Daihatsu Feroza, hammer time.
That's impressive, Matty.
A lot of skill work in that car. There's a lot of weight. Just the amount of smoke it produces is unbelievable, considering the LS probably taking about 7.5, 8,000 RPM out of that engine, but with the big Patrol dips in it, just extremely heavy, and they enjoy coming out as a family and going around to the burnout comps on the East Coast.
He's puffing too, by the look of it.
A bit of wheel work going on as Jamie Carney now throws it in here in this Commodore. Too nasty. somewhere out in that smoke is Jamie Carney. Of course, 403 cubes, 871 on top. You can hear the blow wine when he stands on it. Tyres have just gone on the back of Too Nasty. Jamie Carney giving it a blip on the throttle, those methanol flames coming out the exhaust on the back, and tell you what, Troy Worsley from War Speed screws a few of these engine combinations together. Obviously, palms the tune off there, but they hold together. The strength that he puts into the bottom ends manages to keep them together, that high RPM, and he jumps out of the car. A successful burnout run and done from Too Nasty. And Jamie Carney out on the burnout pad here at Sydney Dragway with just a couple of burnout cars left to go here tonight. And of course, you wouldn't have it any other way, but an LS combination about to come out your way. Of course, blown. Looks like it's got the carbies on top, and it's going to be Brett Sains in Sainsy, not too far away from hitting the burnout pad in this VK Commodore. Thanks to Summonhouse. Get your tickets now, summonhouse.com.au. Just abusing the limiter there. Sainsy gets the tyres off really quickly in the Commodore. No drama at all. The bottom end holding together as he gets around, making short use of a brand new set. Were they good years? Maybe they were. They were a good minute. A very good minute out there on the burnout pad here in Sydney Dragway. If you check that out, have a look as he comes around. The flames coming out as he's smashing the limiter there in Sainsy. Sparks fly out, tyres are gone, he is down to rims, and that's a bit of a saying. Oh no, he's getting pushed off. It's just need a bit of momentum sometimes. You lose the tyres, the rims do not have enough traction. You see the guys, I've cut the exhaust short of these cars to stop those fires under the car. They get the fuel builds up underneath some of the breather from the engine bay, but shooting the flames out of the exhaust there as he keeps it up in the high RPM. Just smashing a bit of limiter there. Sometimes the tyres get caught under the diff there, and you just need that little bit of momentum when you get the car. Because our final car is about to come out on the burnout pad, and well, this man has been around the burnout scene for a long time. He celebrated recently doing 20 years of burnouts in this car. Tough Street. Bill Kurgi now about to hit the burnout pad with his 377 cube small block Chev from West End Performance. The VK wagon with the silver wrap on board. He's been to Summonats almost as many years as it has been around, and of course he will be making an appearance at the next Summonats, Summonats 35 in 2023, all thanks to Summonats, and you can get your tickets already at summonats.com.au.
I'm going to say, Matty, how cool is it to see the kids just hanging off the fence wanting to watch these burnouts?
smoke is filling the crowd up here at Sydney Dragway. It goes straight into the grandstand, and they're hanging around here at the Burson's Auto Parts Australian Top Fuel Championship as we're getting towards the end of the night, the final bit of entertainment, but I believe still got a few things to go on. Maybe some fireworks to come your way up next. As Phil Kurgene there just putting the small block shed through its paces. Listen to the RPM that he's holding in this up on the limiter. Flames coming out the exhaust. Giving the salute to the crowd as he's getting every little bit of rubber off those rims. You don't want to have to DB those tyres. Phil Kurgene taps it on the roof, and another stout burnout done. Putting on the display here at the Burson's Auto Parts Australian Top Fuel Championship, round number 1 here at Sydney Dragway. And remembering that, you know, the excitement of today, we see Phil Reid and the Jim Reid Racing team go through so many emotions there at the end as they take away the win of round number 1. Pete Chibris there just looking at what could have been there if he'd got that reaction time right. We go through it. Phil Lambertina coming in third after what was a slow start to the racing today, but he managed to get it together, ends up on the final step of the podium. It's a fantastic event here as the fireworks go off in the background. We hope that you can join us as we do it all again in 3 weeks for the second round of the Burson's Auto Parts Top Fuel Championship back here at Sydney Dragway. Tickets are now on sale. You can get online and grab your tickets at the 52nd running of the Nationals, and it's round 2 of the Burson's Auto Parts Australian Top Fuel Championship. We can't wait for you to join us once again. It's just 3 short weeks away. We thank you for coming down here to Sydney Dragway. For everybody who's been watching us out there, we will see you in 3 weeks' time.